Good morning, everyone. It is Monday, November 21st, I believe. Sounds right. And I am Cookie King with a cast of a game of, let's put it on everyone view, of a PvP between Wyatt and Sin. Wyatt being the red Protoss on the left side of the map, or the western side, and Sin being the blue Protoss in the upper eastern quadrant of the map. So we're starting out, both players only making probes. Makes sense. Would be a little strange to see something like a gas geyser this early. But we do have a pylon going down for red slightly sooner than blue, which probably won't affect the outcome of the game very much. Wyatt is wondering if he just lagged. I'm not sure how he's expecting Sin. Oh, Lynn. Or Sin thinks it was him. Oh, there might have been a brief disconnect possibility, but we don't get to see that in the replay. Wyatt is happy that it is indeed his opponent who is lagging and not him. Probe is going to immediately scout out Sin's base for Wyatt. So Wyatt's right off the bat going to know where Sin is. Sin is just now sending out that probe to go scout. Neither of them, it looks like, opted for a forge fast expand, instead keeping their buildings inside their base. They look pretty symmetrical, actually. This pylon and this gateway look about in the same position as this gateway and this pylon. They're both taking a gas geyser at about the same time. It looks pretty similar for the most part in this game. Equal supplies. Gas and gateway timings are pretty close. Pylons are even being built at the same time. This is the definition of a mirror matchup. Sin just now scouting Wyatt, checking out his base, nothing special. Nothing too cool to see there. Pylon being built. Broke the symmetry by throwing a pylon over there, which is probably actually better than putting them both here. I guess now, if one of these pylons was to die, these buildings would still have power. However, Wyatt does have the advantage of being able to space out his buildings more if he chooses for that. Looks like he's going to do a wall off. Just having this little area left, I guess in case his early zealot pressure was to come, it'd be more difficult for the zealots to get in the mineral line. They'd have to either walk all the way around, or they could just go through here now. Curious to see if Wyatt decides to complete that wall. Second gas being taken for Wyatt, and Sin only has that first gas right now. Cybernetics core just finished for Sin, almost finished for Wyatt. So Warp Gate is going to come out a bit sooner for Sin, unless more chrono boost is used by Wyatt on that as compared to Sin. Poor scouting probe gets murdered. So 19 probes to 20 probes. The difference is caused by a certain amount of chrono being used by each unit, or by each player, and the supply block is obviously, right now, that's hurting Sin. It's getting delayed, making some units. A Stargate being thrown down for Sin, which is a large deviation. I don't think we're going to see Wyatt throwing down a Stargate, but we could. Nope, Wyatt instead opts for a robotics facility, which does not get a little micro battle going on here. A zealot and a stalker versus a zealot and a stalker. Gonna see how that turns out. There is also a red probe fighting, so let's see. Zealot getting kited, but ooh, that stalker's getting pretty low on health, and that zealot's gonna be pulled away. But there's now one full health stalker versus a almost dead stalker and a zealot. This stalker is instead going to opt to defend the base as opposed to helping out his stalker buddy, who is going to retreat and hardly make it. 2 hit points left. Lucky man. And Wyatt decides not to pursue and will instead opt for the retreat. Void Ray is being warped in for Sin, with an observer being created for Wyatt. Wyatt also has a sentry out, which the force fields aren't going to help too much against the flying Void Rays. So we've got, where'd that Void Ray go? Did he cancel it? He did. He decided to cancel the Void Ray when it was pretty close to being done. I wonder what the motivation was behind that. Maybe it was just a misclick. He was going to pull out a Phoenix instead. With Wyatt going with Immortals. Immortals are pretty bad against, especially if there's Mass Phoenix. Immortals are pretty vulnerable to that. So it looks like Sen is not going to make any Void Rays. Instead offer only Phoenix. Warp Gate with 3 gateways for our blue Protoss. And only 2 gateways for our red Protoss. Observers flying around, gonna see what's what in this base. Gonna see the Stargate. And these Phoenixes are moving out, intending to do some harassment. Not sure. Oh, no, looks like they're just gonna chill over there. Sin might have spotted the little blip of the Observer and wanted to hide his Phoenix count. So he's stashing him over there. Got a robotics facility coming out for Sin. He's gonna probably just want to get an Observer so we'll be able to kill this Observer. Those Phoenixes got chased off, not doing hardly any damage. Just probes down here. I'm guessing waiting to create an expansion. There it is. Expansion, and looks like expansion times are going to be pretty close for both of our players. At around 8 minutes into the game. 2 Immortals out. Only 2 Stalkers, 3 Sentries, which don't do that much damage, but it will certainly help. Phoenixes only lost their shields, which will recharge. This Phoenix is going to end up going straight through the base, but it's going to miss these Stalkers. And it looks like Sen could easily get a couple of probe kills by just bringing in his Phoenixes and lifting up the probes. There's only 2 Stalkers over here. He could probably get 2 Stalker kills if he opted for that, and it looks like he will. One Stalker goes down, and he decides to fly away without doing any more damage. Got a couple more Stalkers wandering the base. Both gases are being taken for Sen on his expansion. Wyatt has yet to start construction of those geysers. A lot of probes being pulled. That's quite a few. It's being sent to the expansion. Interesting choice that his main is now quite undersaturated. These Phoenixes not doing much. This Observer's still chilling out over here. No probes yet on this base. There's the transfer. Now Sin does have a robotics bay, excuse me. No robotics bay yet for Wyatt. He's making only his 3rd gateway right now. Took that assimilator. 3rd gateway for Wyatt. So tech-wise, it looks like Sen's pretty far ahead. He has a Stargate out. Looks like some Phoenixes are picking off some probes. Getting quite a few kills actually. 13 total worker kills for Sen, which is quite a lot. It's going to take a long time. It's currently, it's still 28 workers to 28 workers, so they're even on that footing. Looks like another Observer is going to come over to join his Observer buddy. See what's going on. Oh, but that Observer is going to get killed. Poor guy. This guy's going to make sure to stay away from that. And it looks like Red is looking to move out. These Phoenixes are going to intercept him, but this high Stalker count and the Sentries will be able to probably, yep, takes out 1 Phoenix before the others are able to retreat away. And it looks like we're going to have an engagement. And it looks like Wyatt is going to probably come out ahead if this is a straight-up engagement. Though the Phoenixes can turn the tide if they were to pick up the Immortals and render them useless. It would certainly benefit him. A Colossi is coming out for Sen. However, it's not going to be out in time if there are 2 cannons. So Sen's going to have Defender's Advantage. Ooh, a Guardian Shield. Some nice force fields preventing the army from getting in for the most part. Stalkers back here just dancing. Dancing Stalkers. All the units getting trapped. Some force fields of Wyatts are thrown down, but it looks like this army of Wyatts is going to get cleaned up very easily. He's going to try and snipe the Colossus, but he fails to do that. Immortal getting picked up, being killed, and he finally decides to retreat. No, he does not decide to retreat. He's going to keep pressing on. That Immortal gets picked up and is killed very quickly by the Phoenixes. A couple Stalkers being picked up. And it looks like Wyatt's in a pretty bad position. This Colossus didn't even help out in that defense. There he is. So it's coming pretty late. So this probe's going to retreat. It's kind of screwed if he stays. So with Sen easily took that battle. Came out pretty far ahead. If I was him, I would take an expansion. Just because after crushing that army so decisively, he's still got quite a nice sized army himself. He's going to easily be able to take an expansion and defend it. It's going to be a while before Wyatt has a force that is able to contest the current force of Sen. Forge being made. However, we do already have a forge for Sen. Sen has yet to start any upgrades on it yet. Warping him some zealots and a stalker. Getting another Colossi. He is not yet, has he? He has just started Colossi range. And Wyatt's also getting Blink. Blink to make his stalkers more effective. Probably blink up right next to the Colossi and try and snipe them. This observer's still just chilling out. Only one probe on each of those gases, which is not the optimal amount. Both players have stopped making probes at 53 for red and 35 for blue. I think red's a little oversaturated and blue is actually a little undersaturated. Should share some probes, help each other out. But so the income for red is quite a bit higher, about 500 minerals per minute higher. Not too much gas higher, about 100 gas per minute higher. But that is going to allow. Wyatt is also taking a secret expansion. Not sure, did that observer see that? That observer does not know it's there. He might have seen the probe, so he might suspect that it's there. These Phoenixes looks like they're going to go check out and see. Might have a suspicion these Stalkers are just chilling out over here. Gonna get some free shots on this Phoenix. And no Phoenixes die. There's gonna hang out. Another observer being sent out. Gonna check and see if there's a third force in. Supply's pretty close. We got 3 Colossi with range just finishing up. A 4th Colossi on the way. Lots of pylons. Dark Shrine just started for Wyatt, so we could see some Archons. Or, ooh, there's a Warp Prism, so we could just see some DTs being dropped here. There is an observer out somewhere. Yep, there's an observer over here for Sen. But that's a very far trek. If that observer was to stay there and have to travel all the way across the map back to the mineral line, when DTs are either dropped or warped in, it would be a very bad situation to be in. But it looks like Sen is getting ready to move out with those 4 Colossi. With Wyatt not really having much of an army himself, he does have a supply lead. A probe transfer is being initiated down to this base. A couple of cannons thrown down. Some Phoenixes coming up, hoping to snipe some probes, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. Blinking away, just because blinking's fun. I like blinking. Third base being constructed for Sen. The Dark Shrine is almost complete. Where'd that Warp Prism go? I'm not sure where the Warp Prism... There it is. It's flying in the back. It's going to get seen by this Phoenix. Probably attacked by it as well. Nope. Phoenix opts not to engage. So this Warp Prism's going to get back there. Some DTs are going to be dropped. We have a lot of Phoenixes over here, which Phoenixes don't fare very well against cannons, as in fact they cannot do anything against them, but they're going to get a number of probe kills. We have this Warp Prism just chilling out. It's not yet in warp mode. A lot of Colossi down here. We're up to 5 Colossi now for blue. A couple of DTs are warped in for our red player. Not sure where are those. Not sure where they are. A couple more being warped in, hoping to do some harassment. And there's no detection up here for blue. Blue's complaining about bad luck. Not sure what he's referring to. Possibly those DTs getting in his base. But it looks like Sen has decided to just move out and wants to hopefully try and end this game and not deal with the DTs whatsoever. He has a high Colossus number, but those force fields are going to in fact be broken by the Colossi as they are massive units. And the Colossus count is just so high. There's so many Colossus. We're at 6 Colossus. They're just going to tear through all these units. DTs are still up here just towering down buildings, killing stuff. But it looks like the Colossus count is just too damn high. Gonna kill all of the entire army of Wyatt, except for the Dark Templars, of course, which are up here, still wrecking havoc, causing havoc. Colossi climbing the hills. Looks like they're gonna retreat with the Observer in tow, wanting to wipe out these DTs. Still have a Stalker working at that, or a Zealot working at that pylon. A couple of Stalkers walking down. Colossus are gonna turn around. Decides not to deal with the DTs. DTs are just going to knock out all the pylons that they can, hope to depower structures. Meanwhile, there are cannons at the other bases to detect the DTs, so once the DTs... However, all of the tech for our blue player is in his main, so if he loses all that, he's not going to have any tech. Oh, these DTs are going to get surrounded, but I'm not sure if there's an observer with these Colossus. He could get some potential... Oh, nope, there is an observer right there. So these Dark Templars are going to die very easily. Lots of Stalkers warped in up here. It looks like we might be in a base trade situation. Quite interestingly enough. That Warp Prism's flying away. Not sure where that's going to go. This Phoenix should see it this time. There it is. It's going to take a couple shots. But these Colossi are just going to work at that building. DT's still slowly hacking away at the buildings with the Stalkers helping them out. Warp Prism's going to warp in a couple Stalkers to take out this Phoenix and protect itself. Will the Warp Prism live? Yes, it will. These Colossus are going to move into the base of Wyatt to take out some tech. A couple more Nexuses are being Nexi being thrown down for Sen. He's expanding, wants to keep up some buildings. Colossus are just wreaking havoc. We have most of the tech being rebuilt for Wyatt over in this base. He does have a number of warp gates, getting some robotics sprays. Doesn't want to lose all his tech. He would probably prefer not to lose all these probes, but it looks like every single one of them is in fact going to die from this high Colossus count. Lots of Stalkers up here in the main of Wyatt, or in the main of Sin from Wyatt. And I would have to say it looks like the army of Sin could certainly take out the army of Wyatt. But in a base race, I don't know. I think Wyatt's army might be able to take out all the buildings before Wyatt is able to. But Wyatt does have a very high Colossus count. He does have an observer. He has that observer with his composition, so these DTs won't be a problem. There is no detection at these bases, however. So the DT's gonna have free reign here. The probes are instead just gonna straight up run away. This base is being assaulted. The cannons are taken out, so there's no detection here. And things are looking pretty bleak for a blue Protoss. He is leaving these buildings up, so if an actual base race was to occur, he would have to trek all the way back to kill those buildings to eliminate his opponent. Stalker's going to take out this Nexus. DT gonna go find some stuff to kill. This Nexus got cancelled. A pylon being thrown down for Wyatt. Hidden pylon. That Nexus is going to be eventually killed. And this is looking like one of the only bases left for Sin. And it's hardly protected. Another observer comes out just in case. A couple of Immortals are going to be able to take out one. It looks like they took out 2 Colossi total. Stalker counts dwindling. Wyatt now has a higher supply than Sin. Sin's trying to warp in as many units as he can. However, he was really relying on this Colossi, and with 2 Colossi down, he's certainly at a disadvantage. These 3 cannons are going to be nothing for these units. We have a number of Colossi, especially with that Blink Micro. The Zealots aren't going to do anything since they don't have charge. Colossi looks like they're wanting to go straight for the mineral line. Cannons are going to die, blinking away to prevent damage. DTs are just going to go through and clean up any miscellaneous buildings left over. A fort in a rather interesting location. No more cannons, so there's no more detection for... Oh, no, there is an observer. But there's nothing that can attack those DTs. Sin is rebuilding over here lots of buildings. He does have quite a bank stored up, however that will be depleted very quickly if he does not get a base mining. All the probes of Wyatt are running away, gonna get a couple cannon kills. Colossus have quite a few kills. 22 on that one, 18 on that one. Phoenix is not really gonna care that all these probes are being transferred. The probes are of course being transferred probably to here, as the Nexus is going to quite possibly die. Quite an interesting base race we have. This Nexus is down, so the only remaining Nexus is this one being constructed for Sin, the only remaining blue Nexus. And this Nexus will probably go down soon after the Colossus and Stalkers finish off these warp gates, and then this Nexus will be the only red one remaining on the map. There are still quite a few miscellaneous buildings scattered about. Couple cannons, but that, once again, those cannons aren't going to be enough to hold off this Stalker count and the Zealot count. Got a pylon, a couple of pylons being thrown down. Colossi is still taking their time, taking out that Nexus. And it looks like, for the most part, all of Blue's buildings are here, as Sen, or as Wyatt did take out all the buildings other than those remaining here. So it's going to be pretty difficult for Sen to come back from this, as Wyatt has buildings all over the map. So if Sen sends out units to try and kill those buildings, he's going to be in a very vulnerable position in his main, as this is where all his buildings are. He currently does not have, he has three probes now, mining over here. Got a couple of sentries, probably wanting to force field ramps, be safe. And it looks like both players are going to try and be safe. This warp prism's pretty low on health. It's recharging its shields though. But I would definitely say Wyatt is ahead. He is ahead by 5 supply currently. He has a couple of DTs, some Stalkers, 4 Zealots, compared to the 7 Zealots, 3 Colossi. So the army composition does look better for Sen, but once again, in a base trade situation where Sen tries to kill all the buildings of Wyatt, Wyatt is going to be at an advantage, as he will be able to use his warp prism to come over here and kill these buildings, forcing Sen to retreat and kill the attacking forces of Wyatt. Otherwise, he risks losing the games by losing all of his buildings. And it looks like Sen is just going to want to come up here and try and end the game right now. Is there an observer here? There is an observer for blue, so DTs won't be able to do that much. Colossi have a very long range with the thermal lance upgrade. So this army, the army of Wyatt, is probably going to get cleaned up pretty quick. Yep, nothing left here for Wyatt. It's in a pretty bad situation, actually. It'd be smart to come over here. He should have thrown some units in that warp prism and taken them over to the blue base and started chipping away at the blue base. But now, now Wyatt doesn't have an army. He has a warp prism and a Dark Templar and 2 warp gates. So he can only warp in Zealots, unless no, that's another warp gate. So he can only warp in Zealots. So it looks like Sen is actually going to be able to win. Not sure if Wyatt is going to force Sen to end up killing all of his buildings. Not sure. Oh, he's going to chase after the probes. He doesn't want any more buildings to be constructed. However, a DT is chasing this army. Not sure. Oh, the observer might have gotten sniped, actually. Blue's observer, I think, got killed in the fight, as this red observer was able to see it. And I think that... Oh, very good force fields. The DT is deciding not to attack the sentry and sell it. There he goes. It says he's going to kill those. However, that's all that is left for our red Protoss. He's got that DT, and that's about it. There is a robotics facility being constructed, but there are cannons, so that DT is not going to be able to get up this ramp. Observer's probably going to be made. I'm not sure. Oh, there's a warp prism back here. What's in the warp prism? We have a single zealot. I want to drop that zealot. He can't warp in. Does he have power? He does have power to 2 gateways. However, he's pretty low on resources. And the warp prism finally dies. And the zealot is probably going to die as well. And Wyatt leaves the game. It's an interesting little floating animation. Never seen the little debris under them. It's interesting. But the Wyatt, or the zealot's at least going to live. That's positive. It's a good thing. This DT lives. The last few remaining units of the Red Army. And really interesting base race there. Kind of surprised. I think if Wyatt had opted to use the warp prism to come over here, drop a few DTs or just some stalkers, instead of engaging, obviously this army head on easily crushed the army of Wyatt. So he definitely needed to do something sneaky with the warp prism to try and destroy this base before it got so well established. But with these cannons up, it was going to be kind of difficult. So really well played by Sen. Really protected his base, and although he did leave quite a few red buildings left, he still pulled out ahead, so he didn't even need to really kill those buildings. Once again, my name is Cookie King SC. If you would like me to cast a game for you, simply send me an email and I will be happy to do so. Doing lots of casting for pretty much anyone that sends in a replay to me. I know, personally for me, it's pretty cool when I get to see a game of mine being casted by other people. I just wanted to share that happiness with the rest of you. So send me a replay. My email, it's in the description, but it is cookiekingsc@gmail.com. Send me an email with the attached replay, and I will be sure to cast it as soon as I can. And we'll just have a fun, dandy time. Leave any criticism or comments you have of my play in the comments. I'll be happy to address them. I want to improve my casting as much as I can, and I can only do that by feedback from you guys. So if you have anything bad to say about me, let me know. I'll be happy to hear it. With that, I'm going to head out. See you guys later. Keep watching my videos. Hope you enjoyed this cast, and subscribe to my channel. Peace out.